Once again, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, great Biafrans and lovers of freedom. This is Radio Biafra House Service coming to you through Radio Biafra London. My name remains Mazi Jonathan Chinedu from our low province of Biafra land, and we are here live and direct. Today is the 5th day of May 2024. That Abobo Chinkwo. Therefore, without taking any more time, I will hand over the microphone, the platform, to our first lady, Lolo Uchechi Okwu Kanu. Lolo, please welcome to the program and address Biafrans and lovers of freedom worldwide. Ndewo.
Ndewo, Mazi, Jonathan. God bless you. You're doing indeed a great job. Thank you very much. Great people of Biafra, good evening to you from where I am on this day, the 5th of May 2024. But depending on where you're listening to me from, it is good afternoon, good morning, and good evening to you. My name is, I have to add some of the names that Nnamdi calls me. For the reason best known to me. So my name is Nnamdi Uchechi Okwu Kanu. I bring you greetings from Ohamadike 1 of Biafra land. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu Kamanozozo. The great colossus of our time. Our unswerving, dogged, unfaltering, indefatigable, unimpeachable, and indomitable leader of this great impregnable movement. As you already know, I visited my husband, Onyenduanyi, where he is illegally held in solitary confinement under the umbrella of the Nigeria Secret Service Department, known as the DSS. But before I proceed, I would like to make a fervent orison, that is a prayer, to ask for divine guidance from the Creator of the universe. Nihina, once you start to speak, the spirit takes over. Eke sina mmiri ke elu ụwa nke bụ ala anyị bụ mmadụ guzo ma birikwa n'ime ya. Okike, onye tụrụ ntọala, onye kwadoro ụzọ anyị bụ mmadụ ga-esi gaa n'okpuru ya. Anyị bụ ụmụ gị abịala n'ihu gị n'abalị a ịchọ ihu ọma gị na akara aka ọma gị. Ka ngọzi gị na amara gị soro anyị na-aga site ugbu a ruo mgbe niile ebi ebi. Ka aka gị bụ igbe nke na-eche ndụ chebe anyị. Lekwa ndị na-enweghị otu o siri fọrọ ha, rọpụtara ha. Lekwa ndị ọrịa, gwọọ ha ọrịa. Lekwa ndị nọ n'ime ihe mgbu nke obi. Ndị bụ ibu arụ, meda ha obi ma mekwa ka ibu arụ nke a ha bụrụ ihe ga-adịrị ha mfe. Lekwa ndị di ha nwụrụ na njem a anyị nọ n'ime ya, bụrụ ha di. Ndị ụmụ ha nwụrụ na ndị enweghị nne na nna, bụrụ ha nne na nna, bụrụ ha ụmụ. Nye ha nkasi obi, mepekwara anyị niile ụzọ. Anyị mabụ ndị dị ndụ, ka anyị nwee ike nyere ha aka guzoro n'ụzọ ha ga-esi lekọta onwe ha anya ma lekọtakwa ụmụ ha anya. Lekwa ụmụ gị bụ ndị na-echebe anyị bụ ESN. Chebe ha, kpuchie ha, gbakwa ha ume ma rọpụtakwara anyị ihe a ga-eji na-elekọta ha. Lekwa ndị niile bụ ndị isi na ndị na-aga ozi niile dị iche iche n'okpuru ngalaba niile mepụtara IPOB, site n'ọkwa nke nta ruo eri na ndị DOS. Kpuchie ha, chebekwa ha, tụkwasịrị ha amamihe n'elu nke ị nyegoro ha. Gbakwa ha ume nke ha ga-eji anagide ifufe nke ndị iro na-efe, n'ihi njem a anyị nọ n'ime ya bụ njem ezi omume. Lekwa onye ndu anyị bụ Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, onye nọ n'aka ndị iro, onye izitere anyị ka o duo anyị na njem ezi omume a. Bụ onye na-ahụ n'ihe na-ahụ n'ọchịchịrị, ịhapụrụ mmadụ nke nọ n'ihe, mana nke nọ n'ọchịchịrị ka ị na-ezi ndị kwadoro n'ụzọ ịhụ ihe zoro ezo. Meere anyị ihe amara ịkpọpụta onye ndu anyị, kpọpụtakwa ndị ụmụnne anyị ndị Nigeria gọọmenti ji n'ebe nzuzo niile dị iche iche. Anyị na-arara ka ha rabụ ndị na-ebili na-emegide njem ezi omume a, na-achọ imebi mbọ niile a na-agbarala na nnwere onwe anyị a. Ka ala bilie megide ndị dị otu a, ka ha bụrụ ndị ga-anọ n'ala na-ahụ egbe. Ha bụrụ na ha akwụsị iwezuga aka n'ihe ọjọọ na mpụ, ka mmiri na-eru eru maa ha ugbu a mgbe niile ebighị ebi. Ise ise ise. Good evening once again, great people of Biafra. Excuse me. On this very day of Nkwo, Nkwo ga-akwọtara anyị ihe ọma, kwọtara anyị ahụ isi ike, kwọtara anyị ọganiru, kwọtara anyị ngọzi, kwọtara anyị ịdị n'otu nke ezinụlọ, which is the motto of IPOB, one family. Nkwo ga-akwọpụrụ anyị ndị obi ọjọọ, ndị their DNA is to cause confusion. Kwọpụrụ anyị blackmailers and backbiters. Ọ dịrị anyị mma na-eke orie afọ na Nkwo. Ise ise. You already know I visited my husband, onye ndu anyị, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, and he asked me to, of course, speak to our people of my visit. I am also under his directives to speak as a mother, taking cognizance of the importance of operating as one family. And what does one family mean? What does it symbolize? It symbolizes unity. For those operating outside of IPOB structure, you are not part of this family. And for those who want to be part of this great family known all over the world, you can only function under the authority and ordinance of the DOS. First of all, I want to thank you all for having us in your good thoughts. To those who genuinely show love and support to Mazi and Nnamdi Kanu, you know, when you genuinely love someone, it transcends to what belongs to that person. Hence, the genuineness of your love for Nnamdi Kanu transcends respect, love, care you show to me, his wife, and his offsprings. And I know you all can't wait to hear how he is faring, what we discussed, and all of that. So I will quickly run through this. You know, I prefer to stick to 45 minutes and nothing more than 1 hour. Before onyahange kuchala for 1 hour, the first paragraph onyahuku. I twist and twist. So for this very moment, when I met with Onyendu, he was very happy. He was excited. I was excited. We talked about a lot of things. We discussed about his health. We discussed about the legal team. We discussed about the movement. We discussed about our health as husband and wife, and most importantly, the well-being of our little 8-year-old son who faces a certain emotional challenge because of the absence of Onyendu. Other things we discussed are the whispers of, a husband to his wife and wife to her husband, which actually should be of no one's concern. But if you must know, there were whispers of love and encouragement said to each other. Lots of kisses and hugs and holding of hands like secondary school lovers. And I tried to stay strong and not shed any tear. And Oyindu also tried to stay strong for me. The only time I had to shed a tear was when I told him my dream. The dream I had on the 27th of March. For the very first time, my father-in-law came to me. I told Onyendu the dream. So Papa came to me for the very first time. In fact, some days before the 27th of March, I was speaking, and I was just speaking because I usually speak to spirits. I just speak. And I said, "Oh, Papa, I've never seen you since you left." And the next night, he appeared to me. I will not explain, I will not tell the beginning of the dream, but I went into the house. I was told the house was blocked from entrance. And I said, well, damn the consequences, and I jumped over. I went into the house. I locked the door. My father-in-law was coming down the stairs, but I didn't know he was coming down the stairs. I heard his voice whilst I was turning the key. And he said to me, "Odim nobi ezigbo nwanyim." And I started to walk upstairs, and he was coming down very strong. He had no walking staff. He was wearing a pair of shorts and a t-shirt, very strong. And I looked up to him, and he said to me, When he asked that question, I started to cry. I sobbed. I wept. I started to cry profusely. And he ran down the steps and he held me. He carried me on his thighs and he said, ezigbo nwanyim, ijele nwanyim, odim nobi, nwa m hụrụ n'anya ogene, iwe gị dị ọkụ dajụrụ, besia akwa, besia ya. And I was crying this much because I thought someone actually understands the pain, the heavy cry that I cannot cry on the outside. So it's deep down in the heart. So that was the only emotional moment that I had with Onyendu. So I told him the story. I told him the dream. Whilst I was telling him the dream, I was crying, and Onyendu had to clean, clean. He felt the reality of the dream, what it meant, and he said to me, "Ndo, ndo, the chama. It's okay. It's okay." And that was it. We started talking about other things, and we were holding hands. He just wouldn't let my hands go, and I wouldn't let his hands go either. So now we went on to his health. So I will reiterate what I have said here before. I think the first time I was here on 2022, I mentioned that Onyendu's health, or his state of health, is known to everyone. So everyone knows what Onyendu is going through, or what his state of health is. Excuse me, but he remains the man with one of the sharpest minds I have ever encountered or ever read about in the history of books. His mind is sound and sharp, and he reminded me of things that I couldn't even remember. So when some certain innuendos were going around and talking about Onyendu's mind, I had to say that, and I had to make that clear, very clear. I learned some imbeciles were twisting the things I said, and even Onyendu had to laugh when I told him about playing of chess. How the queen goes after the enemy king, and her king supports her. So, and it's called in chess, it's called kiss of death. And these imbeciles couldn't read; they don't know what it means, and they went ahead to talk about. Anyway, that's by the way. So the Onyendu laughed. You know how Onyendu laughs at people's stupidity. So he laughs, and that was fun. So I'll go back to business of the day. His mind is sound and sharp. So I asked him a question, and he said to me, yes, I adhered to your instructions regarding the 2 out of 3 drugs given to me by the DSS's health department for my heart issue. So the issue here is that Onyendu's heart valve, for it to be corrected, needs or the right procedure for the correction would be a surgery. But to curb the palpitations, they were giving him about 3 drugs, and 2 out of these drugs I learned. In fact, first of all, I constantly raised this very issue with the Foreign and Commonwealth Development Office, that is the FCDO. I constantly raise with them to find out the level of Onyendu's potassium rate, because there's always this potassium level, and I think Dr. Kaji, he asked me a question: what level is this potassium? Is it too high or is it low? Because these are where the dangers lie, and no one has that answer. So I raised that with the FCTO, and as usual, their feedback yields no joy. All they say is they can only raise the question with the DSS, or they can only raise this concern with the DSS. So when I learned of these medications and their effects, I quickly sent a message across to Onyendo explaining how one of the drugs increases his this very dreaded potassium level, and the other lowers it. And the knock-on effect of this alternating state of the potassium level is palpitations. Call it high blood pressure. So Onyendo said he quickly adhered to my instructions, and that has helped a little bit. In fact, during this time of panic and worry, where I had to join a meeting seeking for solution regarding my husband's medication, or a certain woman, I will not mention her name for now, kept throwing side comments which I found very unacceptable. And this is because she said, I heard you, Onyendo, you need to come out and behave like a mad woman so Nigerian government can release Onyendo to us. And but let me address this group of people. Some of you, or some of them rather, think that this is Igbo meeting, whatever, or whatever, and you come and you showcase your colorful apparels as peacocks. You sit down in your little coven from 8 p.m. till 12 midnight, asking yourselves, well, why is Uchechi not? Why is she not on social media crying? She needs to mela konyara. Okwesiri omeishia konyara ya mara akwa ke akwa nishi pota. Be akwa so that Nigerian government will release Onyendo. It means you don't know what you're in. I mean, it means you don't even you don't know the reason or the purpose to your joining IPOB. You didn't understand why you joined IPOB. We have come to understand that some of these people are yet to grasp the intricacies of freedom fighting. Go back to some of the broadcasts that Mazi has made in the past. Nobody is coming to give us Biafra. We will get Biafra ourselves. Maybe if we were from Baltics or somewhere in Europe or the Europe continent, maybe we would have gotten Biafra. But because we are Biafrans, because we are special, because there is something unique about us, the world is afraid of us. And someone said, if Mazi Kanu is a citizen of US, they would have come for him. Oh dear. No, they would not have. This is Biafra we're talking about. So before you find yourself in an organization, or if you come out to join someone for something, you need to understand the purpose of that movement. You need to understand the intricacies. You need to understand what could be and what couldn't. What can and what can't be. We have chosen to use the truth to liberate ourselves and not with weapons, because we cannot afford to lose more lives. So don't forget, there's a body called Amnesty International. They are there to bear witness. N'ihi nke a, anyị na ndị iro anyị ga-achịpịa, anyị ga-ahụ isi ya. You were expecting me to come to your tent and tell you what we are doing, because she said, oh, you need to tell us what you're doing. How dare you? You clearly marked where you belong. You clearly marked your territory. You clearly marked that you do not obey the instructions of the DOS. And then I have no business with you. you have chosen to extricate yourself from the structure upon which you joined the movement. So Nnamdi Kanu was taken, and these certain set of people went nuts. So you never cared about Nnamdi Kanu, you never cared about the movement. You came for something else, and immediately he was taken, you jumped on that thing, which you don't even know how to deal with it. So in your tent of betrayals, where you all wrapped yourself in your quilt of indiscipline. So in IPOB we say we are whiter than white, and how did we come about that? It is because Onyendu Mazi Nnamdi Kanu always say that if you do not announce yourself, if you don't tell people who you are, if you don't mark your boundaries, nobody will understand it, nobody will know. And that is why when you come around me, I tell you that I don't like indiscipline. If you are not disciplined, you cannot work with me. You can't be around me. If you are if you're found in disorderliness, you cannot be around me. If you're a dishonest person, if you're not honest, you cannot be around me. If you're someone without integrity, you have a problem with me, and I promise you the reverse is also the same. It riles my spirit. So Onyendu took my instructions based on that, and he felt a little better. But we believe that the new doctors who are involved in looking after him now will continue to keep in check on areas that are of utmost importance. You must also know that the British government, with Mazi's health and everything, they are still playing their paper tiger game. You know, they're still pretending that they are paper tigers. They are not doing anything. But that will not stop us from knocking on their door and continue to tell them that we are watching, and they will not have any other choice but to do the right thing. So that is regarding Onyendu's health. Now, on the legal team, I know this is where everybody is looking out for. This is where everybody wants to know what is going on. In fact, when I sat down with Onyendu, he started talking to me about. I did not ask him any question about these things. There was just one question that I asked him, and I'm not going to say it here, but I have told the leadership what that is. Of course, Onyendu gave me a message to give to Mazi Edoziem on something to do, something that has to do with improving, my POB and the strength of the DOS. And I've given that message to the leadership. So that very one question that I asked Onyendu, I've also told Mazi Chinasa, but I won't say it here. That's the only question I asked him. Others he explained to me. He started all the conversations we had. He started it with me. He started it first. So the legal team, 95%. So when the conversation went on, I told him that 95% of our people are very upset, because that is what I gathered. I mean, our people, including non-IPOB members, are very upset regarding what happened with the legal team. And they are very disappointed, or were, or still very disappointed by this flop, and raised their concerns. So I also raised that to Onyendu, because I constantly heard the question before I saw Onyendu. I heard the questions. Oh, what does Onyendu's wife say about it? What is she saying about it? Can she do something about it? No. My answer is, or was, no, and is no, because I want to make something clear. Excuse me. I only have the authority to make a decision or to appoint a legal representative to represent my husband if I realize that my husband is abandoned or has been abandoned by the legal representative in an unprofessional manner and feed Biafrans and myself with lies, as the case was in 2015. I know I mentioned in the past I'm writing a book, and everything, like I said, that has ever happened between myself in my life, ever since I got married to Mazi and Nnamdi Kanu, will be found in the book. Is the book that even people all over the world are looking forward to reading, because it tells you about the art of surviving. It tells you that living is an art. So it is about me, it's about my life, but it teaches a lot. It teaches the spiritual part of things, and it teaches the psychological part of things as well. It is very educative. Anyway, so all of that will be found in the book. So in 2015, I had to make that decision because Onyendu was incommunicado, and I realized that I needed to take that action. And I swung into action and took that decision. Now, when Onyendu came out in 2017, his business with Barrister Ifeanyi Ejiofor, it was between the two of them. My job was done and dusted. So Onyendu gave Barrister Ifeanyi Ejiofor a different brief entirely. So it was Onyendu this time around. So I have no business, or with the continuous representative of Onyendu by Barrister Ifeanyi Ejiofor. So my answer to that was that no, Onyendu has the right to choose who represents him, as it's his right. Okay, so that is my answer. But when I had this conversation with Onyendu, in all fairness to Onyendu, I am trying now to make everybody to understand what happened. In all fairness to Onyendu Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is and was against the attacks on Barrister Ifeanyi Ejiofor and SAN Chief Professor Michael Zokeme. He was against it. Now, there is a certain person who counters every decision that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu makes. I will not call his name today, but if he continues to behave like an imbecile, I will call his name. And he will have to answer to Biafrans what actually happened. These rascals issuing these attacks disobeyed the instructions of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. He instructed them to stay their slandering tongues, filled with lies and imputing fingers, but they disobeyed him. So nobody should actually fault Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, because he is in detention. He can't actually do much from where he is. So a certain person is using this opportunity, which I don't understand what his gain is, what he hopes to achieve. If this is just when he has just woken up from sleep to run a business, I don't know, to run freedom fighting organization, I don't understand. But this is not fair on Onyendu, that someone sits on the outside, create enemies, and tag them Nnamdi Kanu's enemy. Nnamdi Kanu is no enemy of Barrister Ifeanyi Ejiofor and SAN Osokome. In fact, one of the lawyers did mention that Onyendu said when he comes out, he would go and visit Barrister Ifeanyi Ejiofor and Mike Ozokome. Unquote. So it is Onyendu's right to say, okay, I am not happy with this, I'm not happy with that. Stand by. There is a word called stand by, and I'm sure some of the principal officers in IPOB understands the word stand by. So you can say to your legal team, stand by, because I want this certain set of people to do this and do that and do that. There is something that Mazi Onyendu talked about. A certain application that was not done. But that application is evident, it is there. So who has given Mazi Nnamdi Kanu a certain application that has omitted what Barrister Ifeanyi Ejiofor and his team filed? That is a question. Okay, so my husband said to me, don't get me wrong, I have no problems with Chief Ozokome and Barrister Ejiofor. So this is for the people to understand, because it was a question that, to be honest, I was not even talking about, because I have so much to deal with. So all I get is, this is what I've done. I get a report from the legal team. This is what I've done. This is what we've done. This is what your husband said. And this is our next step. And I bear it in mind. It is for my knowledge. It is for me to keep up with what is going on, just in case I go in for interviews. I had no decision whatsoever. I had no authority whatsoever to tell them what to do. Okay. So when he said to me, I have no problem with Chief Ozokeme and I have no problem with Barrister Ejiofor, that he still holds them in high esteem. However, I understood that he may have acted on that advice, or on advice to take the decision to change his legal team. And I hope everyone is making a headway. I mean, you understand what I'm saying. So I understood that Onyendu may have acted on an advice to take the decision to change his legal team, which he yielded to for reasons which are not well seated with me, as the evidence, just as I mentioned a few seconds ago, is patent. Or reasons are just best known to him. Though I had equally offered my advice as his wife in that regard, I hopefully expect a better outcome in the coming time. Before I just continue, before this very time in 2021, there was a certain time that the legal team were all gathered, both the legal team, both Barrister Ejiofor and the current legal team now. And I spoke to them. And I said to them that Nnamdi Kanu is the tree that all of you have come. I mean, you're representing him. I asked this person, do you have a problem with this person? He said no. And I asked the other person, do you have a problem with this person? And that person said no. I said, that means you two can work together, because you need an information from Barrister Ifeanyi Ejiofor to be able to administer the things that you need to, and Barrister Ejiofor also needs information from you to be able to carry out his part. And they both agreed. So there is this Confucianist who is so poisonous and toxic that does not sit well with him. He wants to create division. He wants to create divide and rule. Why? Do you even understand why we're looking for Biafra? If you're behaving in this manner, Do you know what Biafra means? What it will take to run it? So you find out that this is a poison spread across by, I don't know, is this sadism? I'll leave that for now. Now, I have received positive feedback as thousands of our people commended my visit to these noble men of integrity. Thousands of our people. I mean, with the event of things, circumstances, I am not able to go on social media because before you even know, I had no idea we were in May already. The time runs so fast. So I think this is where I will bring in my Chioma would have to tweet for me. What I will write and send across to her so she's the one who accesses my Twitter and my Facebook. So I think it's only important that I write and send to her, and then she can then post them for me rather than me not finding the time to log in and the rest of it. So that way I don't stay out of social media for a long time. So I got thousands of positive feedbacks from our people, both IPOB members and non-IPOB members. So these are the things you look at and you run a review. You place this and place this. These people are non-IPOB members and these people are IPOB members. So it means that these people are actually doing something. It means that these people are found worthy of what they're doing. So, irrespective of the blackmail by ndị ọfọziri ka ha tụtụwa komkom n'ahịa ori ukwu a na-enwe ori ukwu market onwe ndị ọfọrọ ka ha tipu efe then gaa ebe ahụ na-atụtụzi komkom. That's the only thing left. Very soon, ajụwazi ha ogini na-eme ogini. For now, they are still rampaging. So irrespective of all the blackmails and the rest of it, so Chioma is busy. Chioma just had a baby. In fact, Biafrans, Chioma had a baby in December, and Koronka didn't allow me to tweet it. So send her your love, and if you live in London and you need to have your food cooked for you, so you can pay for it. Chioma is there for you. So she's very busy with her baby, but she's also busy with her phone. So she's waiting for you. When you write your rubbish, she will delete you and she will block you. And she will laugh. And she will call me and say, I've deleted one imbecile. Yeah? So just so you know, because I don't have time. And I am particularly delighted that I offered my visit. I mean, this very visit offered me the opportunity to visit these two legal giants. For the very first time, I saw Professor Michael Sokeme-san and Barrister Ejiofor to thank them most profoundly for their thankless services and overwhelming victories they recorded in my husband's case, which I felt are not well acknowledged and appreciated for. Not well acknowledged and appreciated for. There must be a reason for one to behave in it when you're constantly creating confusion, when you're constantly creating chaos, when you're constantly creating poisons and imputing ill thoughts in everything and everywhere you go. You poison every seat you sit on, you poison every ear that opens up to you, you poison them. But people should actually ask you, all the people you poison since 2015. Where are they? They followed you and they worked with you and they caused chaos. Where are they today? That should be the question the current idiots and imbeciles listening to you should ask themselves. They are nothing but pawns. So these noble giants, Mike Ozokome and Barisifanyi Ejiofor, they are not well thanked. They are not well acknowledged. They are not well appreciated for their thoughtlessness, for so much that they're putting. And this man has had his life in danger for over the years. For years, come 2015, when Barrister Ifeanyi Ejiofor came on this case, his name was announced on the radio. People were ringing him. If you go to court, we will kill you. We will do this. We will do that. We will do this. This man has endured so much. They recorded a victory of 8-count charge, struck out of 15 charges, and consequent judgment they got at Court of Appeal, which discharged and acquitted MNK. And let me lay emphasis that this said Court of Appeal judgment still resonates most profoundly till today. When we go anywhere, we're talking about the Supreme Court. We're talking about the count charges, the 15 count charges. In fact, 8 struck out of 15. We're talking about the appeal, acquitted, and discharged. It is by these men. So when you're going mad and running insane, you have to be careful. When did we become such humans who show no gratitude? And one thing you must understand is that in the sphere of supernatural, there are repercussions of ingratitude. And you should also know that ingratitude stems from a deeper part of your mental state. It comes from this sadness. You don't have Ojujuafo. So we must desist from this insanity. Friend, on the current legal team, who are now representing Onyendu, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, my advice is to focus on the task of securing the release of Onyendu Mazi Nnamdi Kanu diligently and professionally, because when you begin to run around and gossip and tell stories and instead of you to carry out the message, you first of all go and report to somebody who tells you don't do it. I promise you, if you don't do your job professionally, you will not like the end. It's a promise. You will not like it. Pushing the case, you need to understand what you are expected to do in court and how to behave. Totally refraining from meddling in IPOB issues, all this is, engaging in unnecessary media tantrums, playing to gallery, and needless distractions, which tend to undermine the seriousness and character of this case. This is a high-profile case. And since the workload is massive, it's only appropriate that you pay attention to details and rules of the work, while order of my intervention for inclusion of experts and building up a very formidable legal team continues. Can you come into a thing like this, IPOB, Nnamdi Kanu's legal team? You want to cause, you want to separate, you want division, because in the frame of things, the only person who is directly affected by Nnamdi Kanu's absence is me and his children. It's me. If you like, take it to the heavens and come down. Because TJ, you go in, you switch off your thingy, your what thingy, what's it called? Your phone. You switch off your social media platform. You go to bed. You wake up in the morning. You do the beat that you need to be. You talk to your children. You do stuff, and then you cause confusion in my husband's ability and process to be released. There is limit to what I can take. There is limit to my quietness. In fact, you should be afraid that I am quiet. That should bother you. And that brings me to the heart of the solution of Onyendu's current situation. It is evident that this is a case of political solution. But that does not mean we will allow Nigeria government to continue to bask in their impunity of disobeying court orders. So with the current legal team, we will continue to meet them. That is Barrister Aloy and his team. We'll continue to meet them head on. Even as we have asked Binta Nyako to recuse herself, she has to recuse herself, not to allow herself be used, because in the end, Nigeria government will use her and fail her. So we will continue to ask her to review beyond all reasonable doubt or recuse herself. Howbeit, only a stupendous ignoramus will continue to feign oblivion of the required steps we need to achieving a political solution. This is a political solution, of course. But when you look at the word political solution, what does it mean? It means the elite, the people. It means the political state, us. It means the political who and who in the society. And it has to also stem from a central point. That movement has to stem from a central point. So let me use this opportunity to thank Senator Ifeanyi Oba. I want to thank him for his swift endeavor to facilitate my visit to my husband. Thank you very much, sir, for your kindness. And to other well-meaning Igbo politicians, governors, and elites who are concerned. I want to tell you something. A lot of these elites are concerned about this illegal incarceration of my husband. And they are taking several steps to secure the actualization of sitting at a table. But some of them prefer their names unmentioned. Persons like Chief Dr. Olase, in his own quiet way. Thank you, sir, and more grease to your elbow. We have our brothers, Mazi Ben and Mazi Evans in US. That's Mazi Ben and Mazi Evans Wankwo in the US, holding conferences and pushing in the important, pushing to the important ears to hear the atrocities the Nigerian government is causing our people, incessant killings of Biafrans and illegal incarceration of our leader and other Biafrans in several unknown prisons. So this is how you show that you care about your people. This is how you show that in the little way that you can, you push for our voice to be heard. You push for the world to see how we are being treated in our own land. But when you're busy creating confusion, running from one post to pillar, showing imbecilic behavior, then any person needs to be brought and the pertinent question must be asked. No matter what the gain is, what the goal is, because there must be a goal. Now, those are the two points that I mentioned myself and my husband talked about. Another thing we talked about is the movement. And I hope I made myself very clear on the legal team issue. So there is actually no problems there. There shouldn't be any either. Things change. Things metamorphose into other things, and then improvements are made. Life is about continuous improvement. So back to the movement. Onyendu and I spoke about the movement to a reasonable extent. In fact, Onyendu started these conversations just like I said. We talked about how the DOS has held the front of the movement over these years, fighting manipulations of the Nigerian government. We mentioned his anger on how people had the audacity to meddle in the affairs of ESN. Now, if you recall vividly, the very first time I came on the radio in 2022, even before then, I spoke on an event organized by some women in the US via Zoom. You will recall that I have consistently talked about unity. I have consistently talked about staying under the umbrella, because that is the only how you can stand as one. That is the only way you can stand as one. Have consistently talked about unity. So Onyendu was just talking about unity, standing, being unified as one under the structure that he's built. Why meddle in the ESN, and what else? And then he talked about we talked about how had Nigerian government not used this imbecile, what is it called? In fact, unity of purpose. Onyendu was very upset. So you can see that I work in tandem with my husband. So all the things that I have been shouting about since the past 2-3 years is staying as one. And when you say staying as one, stay as one, unity. What does unity mean? It means you staying under the DOS ordinance. It is abiding by the ordinance of IPOB, which stems from the DOS. That is number one. Number two, has been for people to stop meddling in the affairs of ESN. It is sad that ESN was kept in a certain way, and as soon as Onyendu was taken, they kicked in, attacking these pillars of IPOB. DOS is a pillar of IPOB, and ESN has become a pillar also of IPOB. And what other pillar does IPOB have? Media. So this three triangular point of IPOB was being attacked. Why? Because when you destroy these 3 points, there will be no IPOB anymore. IPOB will be gone. Then all the people who lost their lives would have been in vain. When you go to sleep, when you wake up, thank Chukwu Okike Abiama for the DOS and thank him for the ESN, because you don't know, like they say in the spiritual realm, you sleep and you wake up and you walk. If your eyes are open to the spirit world and you see what happens, you probably will pass out, you faint. when you know how much this DOS has put in, you know how much cases that they have been, you will say a thank you prayer every morning to God for keeping this DOS. So I told Onyendu how they have stood and fought and held the front. And like I said, he's giving me the message for them. So today, Nigerian government has seen that they have seen the failure of their stooge, the stooge they sent, which Onyendu also agreed that had they not sent this person considered to have barely escaped, Trisomy 21. Do you know what Trisomy 21 is? Trisomy 21. Trisomy 21. This person barely escaped it. So you may wonder, had they not used this person, they could have used, it could have been someone else. But they have gotten the IPOB treatment. And they have been put in their place. So now I am under the directive. So before you, or before the people who jump, I think I've gone 1 hour now, so I will rush this. I am under the directives of Onyendu Mazi Nnamdi Kanu to speak as a mother. And of course, I am a mother. And I have specific rules and limits which I use to promote effective discipline. And like I mentioned earlier, if you don't introduce yourself, if you don't tell people who you are, they will not know. Some will encroach into your territory, some will cross their boundaries, and some just would misbehave. So when a mother chastises and advises her children, she sets specific rules and she sets limits to promote effective discipline. I don't like it when someone is not disciplined. I'm very, very, very finicky. You have to speak in a certain way. You have to behave in a certain way. That is why I don't have friends. I don't keep friends, because one misstep, I will tell you to just get out of my sight, and I don't want to see you again, and that's it. So there is this book that I read. It's about it aligns with my values. It aligns with my life. So I kept that in my head. It's about, I think that will be found in my book as well. It's about the art of strategy. When it talked about where I stand. So as a mother, I stand under specific rules and limits because I want to promote effective discipline. And how do I do that? I do not compromise when it comes to something that is right. I stand by it. My father-in-law, I'm just like my father-in-law. He tells you the truth. He likes the truth. He does not mess about. He does not beat about it. And that is it. He's a man of peace, or he was a man of peace. I am a woman of peace, but it does not mean that I cannot war you. I have war in me. I have war. But being married to Nnamdi Kanu, not even being married to Nnamdi Kanu, since 2015, when he was first arrested and I was pregnant with Nabikem, it was when I became reformed. I started to train myself to become a certain person. So that is why my father-in-law was asking me why I cry in the heart, because I am not known to cry in the heart. I am known to bring war. I bring war. I will war. You could be 20 and I will war you. That is me. But being in this movement that Nnamdi Kanu, my husband, leads, I see our people who truly love this man, who truly love the idea of self-determination. I began to review things. I began to review circumstances. I began to train myself on reactions, especially in the public. So for where I stand, I do not compromise when it comes to what is right. When it comes to what is the truth, even if I stand alone, go and ask of me. Even I will be the only one standing, and I don't care if you're 1,000 of you standing on the other side. I will war you. I will rebel. And I don't rebel in public, jump around like headless chicken, like, jumping around and making noise. No. It's not mini matter. Like, come to me. When the Catholic Church demanded that Martin Luther repudiate his attack on the authority of popes and councils, if you catch up on what Martin Luther was on about then, Martin Luther refused to recant. He refused. He said, I will not recant anything, for to go against my conscience is neither right nor safe, nor would I compromise. Here I stand. I cannot do otherwise. Of course, his intransigence was based on the divinity of his positions when defining what was right. There was no room for compromise. This firmness had profound long-term consequences, of course. So I, Uchechi, will never, ever compromise when it comes to the truth. I don't care if you're my father, if you're my mother, if you're whoever you are, I will stand on the truth. Because I'm of the spirit. Because in the moga. So as a mother, I will reinforce desirable behavior. So I praise positive behavior. If you're doing well, I will praise you. And if I catch my children being good, I'll praise them. Oh, you're doing very well. Jisike. And I avoid threatening without exacting consequences. I just can't be going around threatening like a mad dog. Why would I be threatening a human being that God has created in his own image, a human being who sleeps like me at night and wakes up like me at night and sits and eats like me? I do not have the right. So for any time I release a threat or I want to do something, I will exact that consequence because the person must have pushed me to the limit. So as a mother, I consistently apply rules. Now, these things I'm saying, this is how I train Nabikem. You need to see Nabikem. He does not speak. If you tell somebody shut up, Nabikem wants to know, why are you using such words? Why are you being rude? In fact, he has a quote. He said, the sensible thing is better than the mean thing. That is his quote. So rather than you being mean, being silly and all, what is the right thing? Ask yourself and do it. So as a mother, I consistently apply rules and I have standards set. And these standards are unreasonable stone as it requires only common sense and morality. As a mother, I have borne so much. I have carried so much burden, knowing we have lost a lot of lives. I have contained so much rage to make sure I do not let down those who look up to me. As a mother, my life has been of sacrifice for nearly 2 decades. 2 decades is 20 years, yeah? For nearly 2 decades, yet I have stayed my tongue and have held my peace as it is of the waters. So when you thwart the rules set, causing nuisance, and then run around like headless chicken, you rest assured that a mother one day will use one naughty child, just one, as an example. That being said, I am not here today for imbeciles. In fact, talking about imbeciles, I went home whilst I was home, and one of my cousins was saying Imbe. And I said, what's Imbe? And she said Imbe is, I think it's Down syndrome. I think these people that do Imbe or something. I said, so is that like imbeciles? She said, yes. So you notice back home that our people equate imbecility or liking it to Down syndrome. And they call it Imbe. No, that's not it. So I need to correct that notion. So when I call someone an imbecile, in my understanding, it means that this certain group of rascals that I call imbecile, it means that they are extremely stupid. It means that they are weak and feeble-minded with a specific low IQ. And bear in mind that this set of people are usually very wicked. And that's by the way. I am here to update those who genuinely joined IPOB for the freedom of our people and genuinely love Nnamdi Kanu. That brings me to the 30th of May anniversary. We annually celebrate this day, the 30th of May, as our Heroes and Heroines Day. We observe this day to reverence the spirit of those who gave their lives that we may live. Those who fought for who we are today, for us not to be exterminated and obliterated from the surface of the earth. We are not known to spill the blood of human. We revere human life. Biafrans revere human life. We safeguard human life. And we are the closest that understand Nsala. Now you kidnap and kill your own with impunity. How dare you? These spirits have risen and are pushing. They are pushing to pass through the right vessels that will be the catalyst for them to become flesh. What do I mean? For them to come into manifestation. Yesterday evening, that's what I mean by yesterday. I was on the phone to my mom's sister. She's an IPOB member. And we touched on the issue of Alaikumundojo and Allah Ichundojo also. You know, in the olden days, Allah will chase you. And she did mention that it's because of the churches. When I said to her, it's not just because of the churches. It's not just churches. Churches could also be there while Allah will do his job. The problem is the acceptance of letting go of our ancestral path. It is the God you call that will answer you. I keep saying I am exemplastic, I am eclecticist. I draw knowledge, I draw source of energy from anywhere. I can pull it from anywhere. All I need to attain is the spiritual realm and I'll be there. So Chiawolekboro will answer you. So we have deviated from calling our own chi. That is why alada onye gbuo nwanne alada achụzi ọsọ ya na-aga ije na-apamba while the spirit roam. If ndị okenye will hearken to the voice of our ancestors, doso onwe ha nsọ, and call upon the spirit of Ajala using the right materials, you will see how evil will be purged from our land. For every evil person that has ever shed an innocent blood, alagachi also. So we need to revive that, and it's in our hands. Ndị okenye dị nsọ, they need to invoke the spirit. And this is the only time we can argue. You know why? invoke this spirit so they can spilling of innocent blood. So we have our solution. We just need to enact it. On the 30th of May 2024, all Biafrans within the Biafran territory are beseeched to please sit at home, please. Those in the diaspora, gather at your central point of operation and celebrate the memory of our heroes and our heroines. Send your love to those back home. Ihe shirike. Ihe shirike. You know, I'm an empath, so I can feel a lot of people's energies from where I am. So let's try and send our love to people back home, no matter how little. There's always someone it will be enough for. As we continue to go in the coming months, if there's anything I need to let the Biafrans know, I will do that. I will also continue to tweet and post via Chioma on my path, which is my my empath path, if that makes sense. I will once in a while teach, coach people, and talk about surviving as an art, or living life as an art. Having said that, I thank you all for listening. I thank you for your time. I thank you for your courageousness. I thank you for your strength. I thank you because without all of you, without those listening, those that write, those that make videos, pushing this this good news, because this movement is good news. It is filled with tribulations because no good thing comes easy. But when we will achieve our goal, it will become good news. So it's a good movement and it's a noble one at that. So thank you everyone for your care, for your prayers, for the love you have for Nnamdi Kanu. I can't say for me because whatever you have for Nnamdi Kanu, it transcends to everything that you do. It shows in your actions. So God bless you all. Continue to fight, for in the end, we will have Biafra, which is our hope. This is Radio Biafra. This is where we worship. From me, from here, it is good evening. Thank you.